Hello, welcome to DM Tips. My name is Julie Hudeman. I'm the coordinator for Extension Strategic Initiatives. Our focus today for our digital measures tips is impact statements. The plan today is to give you a very brief overview of impact statements and then to move on to the digital measure screens and walk through the process. If you have questions, please use the chat and we'll get to your questions at the end. So let's define impact statements. An impact statement really is a narrative or a story. And the purpose of telling this narrative or story is to talk about the results of a program or a project. It's organized into three separate parts. And the first part is the issue or the problem, where you identify why you would have a program in Extension, or why would you do a project in Extension? What's the issue? What's the problem? Talk about some statistics, provide some prevalence or levels of statistics that indicate how severe the issue is or why it's important. Secondly, you talk about your research or your Extension program. What is it that you did? If you taught a program, describe the program. How often did it meet? How many hours of instruction? What were the topics that were presented? That kind of thing. Describe the program so that a person could understand what you're talking about. Secondly, in this section, you also describe the audience and you use their roles. So the program was provided to farmers from Northwestern District of Indiana or something like that. So you identify people by roles. Could be these are childcare providers, or the people in the audience were youth who were in 4th grade to 8th grade or something like that, just so you're identifying who was in attendance. And then finally, the key findings. As a result of that training, what changed for those participants? Did they learn something? Are they intending to take on a new behavior? Are they going to adopt a new practice? Describe that. The impact statement results can come from your evaluation that happened at the end of the program. But if you do any type of follow-up with them, maybe you follow them 3 months later and ask them to tell you what they've done. Or maybe you have an annual event and you ask them every year they come by what they've done in the past, that kind of thing. The idea is you need to report what's happening or what's changing for them over that course of the time. So again, you're highlighting how things have changed because of a research project or of an extension program in your impact statement. So just to compare what an impact statement is and is not. It is very brief. You need to avoid any kind of jargon or acronyms. The focus of it is on what was accomplished. What were the outcomes? What were the impacts? What were the discoveries? It's something that you're sharing about research or extension, and it's a report that can become a marketing piece. It's really meant for the general public to understand. Now, an impact statement is not a thesis. It's not technical, not something that you put on your resume or your CV. It's not your annual activities report, your annual evaluation that you're reporting to your supervisor, and it's not about you. It's not written in first person, I did this, I did that, and it's not a published article or citation. It really is a narrative that's written in a simple form. Maybe it's almost like your elevator speech, only a little bit longer. It's very general so that anybody that doesn't understand what you do or what the program was or what the research was can understand what you're doing in a general sense. So the structure of this narrative comes from the logic model. The situation and priorities are the first thing on the logic model. And that's the issue or the problem that you're describing in your narrative. The inputs and outputs are the description of what has been done. You're talking about who the staff were, you're talking about what you did, what workshops you had, what it was about, and you're talking about the audience, who were the participants, who were the clients. So that's the narrative section about what has been done. And then finally, the results part of your narrative is the outcome and impact section. Short-term, medium-term, and long-term as it applies to your program, as you've measured information about your participants. So the whole idea of writing an impact statement comes from the structure of your logic model. So if you've prepared your logic model in advance, or if you've used one of the program area logic models, that will be a great help to you to know what you want to talk about in your impact statement. So just before we go on to digital measures screens, I just want to remind you that we have instruction documents embedded on the digital measures screens. It gives you descriptions and examples of how to fill things out. I hope you make sure you take time to look at them. There are help tips. If you see a question mark on the screen, that means it's a help tip. Click on it, a pop-up window shows and gives you a little bit more information about how to fill out that particular field. On the Extension Intranet metrics site, we also have lots of resources for you. All of the program area logic models are there, so you can see what outcomes are expected to be reported for those, and you might use those in your impact statement. If you have any problems or need some help with the digital measures, DM help is the email that you use to get some help on that. All right, let me pause just a second to change screens, and then I'll do the walkthrough. Okay, here we are in digital measures. This is the impact statement screen, and just to remind you, there are instruction documents posted at the top. If you click them open, you will have a PDF document that explains all of the steps and provides examples and so on. So you start at the top and you work your way down. You start with the month and the year that you're reporting this. When your data are in hand and when you're ready to report it, that's when you identify the month and the year. It doesn't have to be when the program happened, it's when you report the results. Put a title there. Think more like a news headline, not simply just the name of your event or your program or project. Make it a little bit more interesting. Fill in your team members next. Identify your primary program area theme. If you're, you will pick one of those, and then if your event might be more multifaceted, you might pick a secondary or others that were also involved. Please don't repeat the same theme twice. Pick your NIFA priority here. Each of these are very general categories to see where your work might fall. Identify goals that pertain to yours. Remember, these help tips are here in case you have a question about how to fill out that field. There's a pop-up window that helps you do that. Extension and research is defining who's involved in this. Are there extension personnel involved? Are there research personnel involved? If it's just extension, it would be called in-state. If there's research and extension working together, that's considered integrated. If the professionals are from Purdue Extension and from other extension institutions, maybe from Illinois or Ohio, for example, that would be multi-state. So make sure you collect the right thing there. If you are working multi-state, list the states that are involved. External partners, if you are having people from the community or agencies or groups that are helping you with your particular program or event, make sure you identify them here. And then give your evaluation plan. Here you're describing what method you use. You're not describing results. So you might say I did a pre and a post kind of measure, or maybe I did a 3-month follow-up or a 9-month follow-up evaluation to determine change of behavior. That's the kind of thing you're putting here. Now you're getting to the narratives. This part should look familiar to you. We've just talked about this. The 3 boxes, the issue, what has been done, and the results. So these are the parts of your logic model. The main thing to remember about digital measures here is that it does not save as you go. It times out after about 90 minutes. So if you log in and you step away from your desk, you come back and some time has passed, you might have lost something if you type something. So you want to make sure if you're drafting this narrative, you probably should do it first in Word and then save it in Word so that you have it, and then just copy and paste it into these boxes. That would be the best thing. So again, the issue is going to be a few sentences to tell about what's a problem or issue. What's the reason you would have your program or your project? And what has been done? What did you do? What was the structure of the program? How did you design that program? That kind of thing. And you also describe the audience. How many people were there? What were their roles? And then you come to the results. What happened? What did they learn? What did they intend to do? What did they tell you was the practice that they're going to adopt? When you did the follow-up with them 3 or 9 months later, what information did they use in their operation or in their business or for their family, right? So get at those kinds of things. All of these need to be relatively brief and just a few sentences long. It's hard to be brief, but try to do the best you can there. And then to finish off your impact statement, you need to report your outcomes. So back to your logic model, which outcomes were you tracking or measuring with your evaluation? Use those numbers and report them here. Put the number in the box, scroll to the bottom, click OK to save it. I'm going to cancel. Then you're finished with your logic or with your impact statement, and you can save it. So this has been a demonstration about impact statements and reporting them in digital measures. Thank you for joining me today.